A lot of people are terrified of closing a sale, and they should be. Closing a sale is one of the hardest, worst things you can possibly do. It's totally unnatural. However, what would happen if you did things a little bit differently and used a professional approach in sales? And what I mean by the professional approach in sales is you do things in the same way that a professional does. Imagine that you go into a doctor's office, you go into a lawyer's office, you go into an architect's office, you go into any professional, and they're going to use pretty much the same approach. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to qualify you and make sure that you need their services. And so they'll find out if you can pay for their services, they'll find out if you're the right fit for them. You might be going into an attorney's office and say, I need a lawyer, and they might be specializing in family law rather than specializing in criminal law or in corporate law, whatever your needs are. So the first thing that an attorney does, that a doctor does, that an architect or a CPA does, is they qualify the person and make sure that they're in the right, sitting in front of the right person. Because you don't want to try to help them if that's not what you're here for. If they're looking for a restaurant and you've got a service station, you might not be the right choice. The second thing you do is you probe and find out exactly what the problem is. If you go into a doctor's office and the doctor says, come here, let me give you a shot, and they haven't seen you before, they haven't done any of your vitals, they don't know what your background is, you're going to run out of there screaming because they didn't find out what your problem was. And the way that a professional finds out your problem is they do a lot of probing questions. They'll ask open-ended questions to grab a lot of information, closed-ended questions to clarify, and they will find out exactly what your problem is. This is the most important part of a sale. If you find out what their problem is, you can solve the problem. If you don't find out what the problem is, then you have no idea how to solve the problem. Does that make sense? Once you have done that, you do the price. Once you have done that, you will then restate the problem and just verify. So what you're saying is you need this. You have a broken arm, so you need to have your arm set. You have a bankruptcy, so you need to go ahead and work that out. Whatever the problem is, they're just restating it and making sure that they have the right solution and saying, so if you want to go ahead and have your arm healed, we need to get moving forward and put you into a cast. Is that correct? What you've just done is they are telling you what the solution is. By you asking questions and by you purposely asking these in such a way that they're going to respond, what has just happened is that they will go ahead and tell you, yes, that's exactly what I need. That's almost like a purchase order, where all you have to do is just write it up from that point on. You're not going for the sale. It's just sort of like, okay, there we go. Next step is the price. You tell them, well, the cost for setting your arm will be, the cost for doing a bankruptcy, the cost for doing this will be, and then the close. Why don't we go ahead and move forward for all the obvious reasons? If you do this in the correct way, the qualification and the probing and find out exactly what their problems are, and then the restatement of their problem takes up 95% of the time, and that is just helping them. The actual closing is so easy because you've invested all the time to really find out what their needs are ahead of time. Now, if you did not do step 1, step 2, and step 3, and just skip ahead to the price and the close, of course it's going to be hard because you haven't established value. You haven't found out their pain. You haven't found out what they need to do to solve that pain. Instead, you just said, here's the price, take it or leave it. Knowing what their problem is the best way that I know to go ahead and close the sale.